Episode of the Cattle USA Daily Podcast. Today we are welcoming Gary Lezak back on to the podcast, as we do every single week with the Weather 2020 team, where we are bringing you guys weekly weather insights and long-term weather predictions on what is happening throughout the Midwest and throughout the lower 48 in general. Just what is happening, what are major weather events that we need to talk about, things that we need to keep our eyes on. And today, Gary and I talk all of those things. We are talking weather and rain patterns across the Midwest, and then we're talking hurricanes and hurricane season, what that's looking like for our southern states and everything else that kind of comes along with that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this episode with Gary. Gary, welcome back to the podcast.
What time of day it is, morning or afternoon?
Whatever time you're listening to this, fill in the blank.
Probably morning. Somebody's driving.
Probably.
They're on their way to Nebraska, and they're listening to our podcast to get them inspired and excited about science, about weather, about summer, about fall coming. Or just 1 month from now, the jet stream starts strengthening and fall will be approaching.
That's crazy. We were just talking about how hey, it's almost the first days of summer. And then now we're like, guys, fall is knocking. It's right around the corner.
I know time just flies by, but no, it's great. It's great to be here with you. How is your sourdough going?
My sourdough is great. Again, we had a redeeming batch. It was phenomenal. Turned out great. Next time around, you're getting some in the mail because I am redeemed. I am redeemed.
I think you can
ready to go again.
FedEx it real quickly, and so it'll be.
Oh, yeah, I think I could do overnight shipping to Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're gonna have to do that. I had to make a batch where I was like, we're just gonna do these, and they're gonna be ones that I'm not giving to any friends. They're not gonna I just gotta make sure that it's good again and it's ready to go, and it is indeed. So we are redeemed. I am back, ready to conquer the world.
That's awesome. So I'm back up in my office. I moved the TV studio equipment out. I kept a couple lights and the monitor and the system if I want to still record live somewhere. But regardless, it's nice to be back up in my office.
Yes, your office is not completely taken over by weather studio equipment from your time on air. You can
exactly. And behind me,
you can see the walls.
There's a bed behind me right here. It's a big, full-size bed, but the dogs, it's like a big dog bed.
They've got their dog bed back. I bet those two are just living their life right now. So excited that they have their dog bed back.
Yeah, they're not up here right now. You may see one of them walk into this shot here soon.
I love it. I love it. Well, I heard her earlier. She was pitter-patting around before we started recording. She's there somewhere. Perfect. Awesome. How's everything else, Gary? What else is going on in the world?
Well, the weather pattern is cycling regularly. We've already gotten past the all-star game of baseball. Well, there is Rainbow.
There she is.
So, but no, the weather pattern is fascinating. Rainbow. Yeah, good girl. But, there's a lot going on. We're sharing something special with all of you guys here at Cattle USA, and I highly recommend you getting the discount through the site here and getting that dashboard, the Weather 2020 Vision dashboard. Right now, it goes out a year ahead. So right now, it'll go all the way to next July. And you can see how much snow is going to fall location by location. Now, granted, the weather pattern is cycling, and what happens with the LRC, every year in October, the weather pattern sets up. It evolves from around mid-August to mid-October, and by mid-October, it is now a brand new pattern that's never happened before. So yes, we have a forecast that goes out to next year and through winter, and you can get an amount of snow forecast in your area on this dashboard, but that will evolve and change when the new LRC sets up next October and November. But you at least have a tool that no one else has, and it'll be accurate. Right now, through September 30th, as you go into harvest, it's going to let you know which days and which weeks will be wet, which days and which weeks will be dry. After October, the new pattern evolves, and we'll talk more about it then. But it's a great tool that only exists through weather 2020.
So when the new pattern evolves, are we going to have a different amount of cycling days when the pattern changes? Is that how that works?
Yeah, like last year, we had about a 45 to 46 day cycle.
Okay.
So, and then oscillated between 42 and 49. The year before that was roughly 51 days. The year before that was about 60, 64 days. And this year is 38 to 44 days, or centered on 41 days. In December, Jeff Penner, one of our meteorologists, he and I saw 39, 40 days. And we're like, no, that's probably too low of a cycle. So we sort of ignored it in November when we first saw it. And then by the end of December, early January, we thought it might be 60 days or 62 days or 55 days or 48 days. But then it settled in on 41 days. So that 38, 39, 40-day cycle we saw early on actually was valid. So it's a very low cycle length this year. Most cycle lengths are 40s or 50s, but anywhere between 35 days and 80 days is the cycle length each year. That year, once it's set, it is consistent. This year is 41 days. You go back and look at what's happened on your farm, in your area, wherever you're concerned with, and you go back and take 41 days and just go back and look around that day and you had like a big rain event, or it was hot, or it was very cold. You'll notice that it likely happened again 40 days later. You forget, but it happened again. And so even this flooding disaster in Texas, this horrific disaster, they did have a big rain event 40 days earlier, 41 days earlier in May 26, actually. So it's not saying that there will be a flood, watch out, but it might want to give campers a heads up that that could be a stormy weekend. And if you have a heads up, it's weird. If you have a heads up on an event, whether it's a flooding event or a winter storm or a tornado outbreak or a hurricane, when it starts developing, it just might cause you to act differently. One action, one life saved is worth it. The LRC is going to save lives in the future. So, would it have saved all 132 people that have died now from that? Or probably not when it floods that bad. But as I said, even if it saved one life, it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. As we look out into summer, what are we seeing? Any changes? Any things that we need to cover as we're halfway through July, which I was talking to someone yesterday and I was like, on the whole time is going extremely fast, like the days go by slow, the weeks go by very fast concept. Holy cow, how it was just July 4th, like yesterday, I swear. And now it's what, July 16th today?
I know. It
Insane.
was just like, I know, this was really weird. It was the July 4th thing. You just brought it up. I was like, oh my gosh, it's already been 2 weeks since July 4th. What the heck?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's crazy. But, one thing that we talked about right here on this podcast from the beginning, when we started looking into summer during the spring, and we finally in May started looking into it, I said it doesn't look like we're going to have any major heat wave. Okay. So far, the only significant heat wave has happened near the east coast of the United States. And that part of the pattern is actually returning in the next couple of weeks. So the blue sky part of the pattern, remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Blue sky power pattern is due to return in a couple weeks. So right at the end of July, early August, when we're supposed to be hot, it might actually have a small heat wave. But that would be it. Then a cold front would come through and it would squash that. So that was one of the things that we talked about. And so most areas of the corn belt and the agriculture belt are doing well. Unfortunately, there's pockets that are not. And there's parts of Kansas. Crops have already failed. I mean, they even had the corn failed in a couple of farms already. And it's a little early. And there's others that are on the threshold. Last night, there was a thunderstorm complex and large area of rain coming across Nebraska. And oh my gosh, Nebraska and Iowa got a lot of rain again. So those crops are probably really good. But that was heading towards Kansas. There's this one county, Washington County. Lynn, Kansas is in Washington County. And that county really, right now, they need 2-3 inches of rain it'll make the corn crop. Some people say, oh, corn doesn't need rain right now. And for corn and soybeans, some rain in areas that haven't gotten enough rain, they need rain. In areas that have gotten enough rain, yeah, they don't need the rain right now. But last night, did it again. Hit Washington County. It produced about a half inch of rain in a couple spots, but it all ended up just one county east of there was about 2-3 inches. So they didn't get the rain. So there's pockets like that exist near the Flint Hills. There's a pocket that has not had a lot of rain on the north side, whereas the southern side, as you get closer to Wichita, they've had a lot of rain. So these struggles, the struggle is real, Lauren. The struggle is real. And I feel that struggle. I wish I could control the weather. I don't like it when these areas keep getting missed. But the areas that keep getting missed is also a sign of what the LRC is all about. Some areas get hit, and they keep getting hit because the weather pattern is cycling and it's producing conditions to produce rain for your area. And the areas right next to you are not getting hit, and it's very consistent. These things happen all the time, every year. And if you're in one of those areas that gets missed seemingly all the time, you still may get hit, but hopefully it's not after it's too late.
Yeah, precisely. How is hurricane season looking? How's all that looking? What's an update there?
We had Andrea, then we had Chantal, and then we had Andrea, then Barry, then Chantal. Barry's moisture was included in that flood in Texas, and Chantal went into the southeast United States. So we've had 3 weak tropical systems so far. There's a fourth one that may develop near New Orleans in the next couple of days, but it's also weak, and it may not form into a named storm. If it is, it'll be named Dexter. But so far, even though there have been 3 named storms, and that's slightly above average, the energy that it has produced is way below average already. So it's already a fairly quiet start to the season. Weather 2020 predicted 17 to 23 named storms. So we may get higher numbers like I'm predicting, but at the same time, the energy, it shows you, just because the water is warm, these climate change people, when they say the water is so warm, hurricanes are going to be stronger. Now, you have to have a system first. So we'll see if these systems get generated, and then they could tap into that warm water.
That makes sense. Totally like side topic thing, but like how do they come up with names for hurricanes?
Way back in the 1960s, I think, they started naming them. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but they were all female names for a long time. It was just female names. And then in the 90s or early 2000s, they changed it to alternate between male and female names. But they make a list. The list of names is about 20 per season because there's not going to be a Q name or no Z names unless it's the Greek alphabet at the end. They do Zeta. But they come up with this list of names, and then they have 6 years of lists of names. So the 7th year will be the same list as the first year. So for example, we just had Andrea, Barry, and Chantel, right? If one of those became a powerful hurricane, last year, remember Beryl was a big one. Hurricane Beryl and Helene was a big one. Helene and Beryl's names will be retired and taken off the list because when you have a Beryl that becomes so huge, the strongest hurricane ever, now Beryl will be remembered, so you take it off the list, and another B name goes into that list instead of Beryl. If Barry or Chantal that just happened, if one of those was impacting and big and deadly, then it would be, we need to retire that name, and then they replace it with another name. Otherwise, in 7 years from now, and so this is 2025, so in 2031, there's going to be Andrea, Barry, Chantal again. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I had no idea. I was like, I know there's a system behind it, and I know you would have to know. So I was like, I want to know a fun fact today on how this goes. So
that's how cool. It goes. Just know, like, before Hurricane Harvey was a major one that killed a lot of people, produced a major flood in Texas and Corpus Christi in 2018. Before Hurricane Harvey happened, maybe it's 2017. There was in 2011, there was a tropical storm Harvey. In 2005, there was a Hurricane Harvey. In 1999, there was a Hurricane Harvey, but they were never memorable. They may have been over the open Atlantic, didn't do any damage. So 6 years later, when the list returned, there was a Harvey. So there's been other Harveys, but then we had the major Harvey. And now that Hurricane Harvey is the one we'll remember. And now there's no more Harvey. Harvey has been replaced with another name.
So fun. So fun. When do they officially decide like, hey, this is a named storm? Like when they like decide it's severe enough, that's when it becomes named?
Yeah, when it comes to hurricanes, no, there's a complete criteria on wind speeds. And so when there's a low pressure circulation over the tropics that they can identify as circulation, and the wind speeds reach 30 knots or 35 miles per hour, roughly, that becomes a tropical depression. Otherwise, it's just a tropical disturbance. If there's an area of thunderstorms, we're monitoring this disturbance. Then when it gets organized and starts having a low pressure area, then it becomes a tropical depression at 30 knots. When it hits 35 knots, which is close to 40 miles per hour, it gets a name. They name it Tropical Storm Barry. And then when it gets up to 65 knots, that is 74 miles per hour, almost 75 miles per hour. But at 65 knots, it becomes a hurricane that's usually as strong as, sometimes when it becomes a hurricane, that's when the eye starts forming in the middle of it. You can see the eye. It's not always you can see the eye when it's 75 miles per hour. But then it's a Category 1 hurricane. Then a Category 2 is closer to 95 miles per hour. Category 3 becomes 105, 110 miles per hour. Category 4 is like 125, and then it's Category 5 when it gets to 155 or higher on miles per hour. So, and those are sustained winds. So an average 1 minute wind speed, a wind gust can be 240 miles per hour in a hurricane. I mean, in the strongest. So, but that's when they act like just like a tornado going across a large area. But that's how they're named.
The more you know. The more you know. I love it. Amazing. Any other things that we need to hit on in the weather this week or this coming month?
Yeah, the thing to test for the next 15 days, in these next 15 days, we see more chances of rain and thunderstorms. Will the heights rise? Remember, this is the jet stream, which is the subject of the Weather Intelligence Report, weather2020.substack.com. For that, there's a link on the site here where you can click and get it. I highly recommend getting that. It's $300 a year. With our discount, it could be a little less, but that's still less than $1 a day. And between now and a year from now, you're gonna go, your light bulb's gonna go off, and you're gonna go, wow, the LRC is real. The weather pattern is cycling. Oh my gosh, how come the rest of the world doesn't know it? And that'll be the next question you ask me. And I go, I've been trying to tell the rest of the world for 20 plus years, 30 plus years. But anyway, I highly recommend that. So one thing we're monitoring right now, as we talked about, is the jet stream. It reaches its weakest point at the end of July and early August. And this is every year, regardless of the weather pattern, right? Every year's pattern is unique, but the jet stream will be at its weakest point somewhere in that 2-week stretch, late July, early August. That's when the average high temperature is usually the highest everywhere around the northern hemisphere. And that's when storm systems are weaker and farther north. But then as soon as it hits August 10th, August 15th, 1 month from now, the jet stream gets a little stronger and stronger and stronger until it hits the first day of fall. And now we got storm systems that are really strong again. The jet stream is caused by temperature contrast, but I talk about that in the Weather Intelligence Report today.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Gary, as always, thank you so much for giving us some insight into weather patterns, what's going on in the world, all of the things that we kind of need to know and keep our eye on as we finish up summer and go into fall. That's crazy to say. I can't believe I'm saying that as we're finishing up summer and going into fall.
Football
I'm still processing that.
Football season
I
starts
know.
in 2 months.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We were looking at tickets. We are not big, like, we love Chiefs football, but I'm not a big like go to a Chiefs game person. I wouldn't mind going to one a year, but I'm not like, we're more of a K-State football family where we're like, if I am here and if I am not traveling, we're going to get our butts to a game, at least to go tailgate. And so we looked at the schedule yesterday. I'm very excited.
That is awesome. Very exciting.
Yes, yes. And we're going to drag Gary back from Colorado to go to a Chiefs game because, of course, I mean, he has to. He's wearing Chiefs gear right now. I think he wears Chiefs gear more than he doesn't, actually.
I do. And I'm going to be home opener on September 14th. I will be there. So if you are tailgating out at Arrowhead, I will be coming by to say hi.
Heck yeah. We love it. We love it. Well, Gary, thank you. As always, we appreciate it. To all of you listeners out there, make sure you check out the show notes. I have all of the links that Gary chatted about today. We've got that Substack link down there. We've got the link to the dashboards, our exclusive discount, all the things. So make sure you go check them out. And as always, we will see you all tomorrow on another episode. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.